Yeah. You ready to go get an X-ray? Huh? You ready to go get an X-ray? Yeah, let's go get an X-ray, Jensen. Yay!
Originally, this vlog was going to feature Jensen's first Major League Baseball game, as well as different resources the stadium had to offer for special needs or disabled. However, an unexpected call instantly made the vlog a double feature. So if you're not interested in baseball but want to know what it's like being thrown into an appointment with less than 24-hour notice, then skip ahead to the second half of this video. Jensen did a fantastic job during our 3-hour car ride. He was quiet except for a few kicks here and there, as well as mumbling a couple of times. Otherwise, we made our way to the stadium where the staff was amazing and friendly. They offered to take our picture, as well as told us to go to guest relations to get Jensen a certificate for his first game. Just got to Milwaukee and parked our car. We're headed to a bar so we can get some food and drinks beforehand. This is super shaky. There's Jensen. He did so good. Good job, buddy. So then they will take us to the game from there. Let's go get some cheese curds and pretzels. Got on our shuttle, and for social distancing purposes, you could not sit next to Buddy the Elf, which I love what they did there. We got to the game early so that we could explore the stadium and see what they have to offer for special needs. The same kiosk where we got Jensen's first baseball game certificate are also where you can inquire about other accommodations. The stadium has about 3 kiosks located throughout the park. The workers showed us their free assistive listening device, which was the size of a thick old-school iPod. You tune into the correct station and are given earbuds, which you get to keep. They have braille and tactile signs throughout the park. They have captioning along the ribbon boards on either side of the field for those with impaired hearing. They also have numbers to call prior to the game for any assistance or if you have any dietary restriction questions. They do have an area for kids to play, but due to the pandemic, it is shut down at this time. Unfortunately, Jensen bet on the Italian sausage, while Mom's pick, hot dog, won the wiener race. There's a location at the park for dropping off anyone in a wheelchair, as well as elevators, escalators, and ramps within the park. Guest services are available to provide adequate seating for guests in wheelchairs, and they also have ushers to assist in getting the guests to and from their seat. However, they do not lend out or rent out wheelchairs. I do regret not having noise-canceling headphones for Jensen because we were right under a speaker and it was really loud, but he did great regardless. I just want to give a huge shout out to the Marlins fan that got a foul ball and gave it to Jensen. This meant so much to me, more than I could have even explained to him. And now we can give this ball to Jensen when he's older and tell him about his first game and he can actually feel the ball. Since we were getting a good look, this is what Jensen's eyes look like. It's just pupil with some white clouds. Reminds me of marbles that I used to have as a kid. Originally, this video was just going to feature Jensen going to his first Major League Baseball game in Milwaukee watching the Brewers play, and then we were heading to Madison after that to stay with my in-laws. In the last video, I told you guys that we were going to hear from neurology for Jensen, and I ended up getting a phone call from them, and we were going to be scheduled out until late June. So I talked to our pediatrician, and they called to see if we could get in sooner. They had to do a peer-to-peer talk of some sort, and I was to hear back from the Children's Hospital sometime this week. Yesterday, while we were in Madison, Josh and I decided to have a little date day, and we were having a couple drinks. All of a sudden I see on my phone that we're getting a phone call from the Children's Hospital, so I'm running in and out of the restaurant so I can hear better, and then back in to see if the time and date would work for Josh, aka the next day, aka today. We had to switch around our plans a little bit and leave bright and early from Madison to get to the Children's Hospital on time. Just a little anxious because I guess I didn't really have time to think about everything, and we're hitting construction on the way to the hospital, as well as there was an accident, so we had to take a big detour on a gravel road, and now we're back on track. We'll be at the Children's Hospital in about an hour. We'll take you through that process and see what happens.
You ready to go get an X-ray? Huh? You ready to go get an X-ray? Yeah, let's go get an X-ray, Jensen. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, not to say like let's get this over with, but kind of let's get this over with because I am so tired. I am so mentally and physically drained right now. Preferably, I like to film when everything is fresh, aka like straight out of the hospital, but we went to get food and then the drive home and I just didn't want to film in a shaking car. So here we are and let's just get into it. As I told you guys before, we got a phone call. We made Jensen's appointment the next day. We went to that appointment today, had lots of driving from Josh's parents' house. It's just always a rush because at the children's hospital, it is a popular place to be. Hard to find parking and all this stuff and you're just racing in there trying to change his diaper. We have to pee because we've been in the car. So anyway, we get in with our neurologist who we're meeting for the first time and she was awesome. But I mean, we just a list of things, which half of it, not really surprising. There's just one thing that like, it's just like, it's always something. It's always something new. Are you giggling? And you've been stuck in a car seat almost all day, and now you just want to kick, and laugh. He is such a good boy. You really have done awesome today, baby. This whole last 2 hours, 1 minute I'm gonna cry, the next I'm like, just raw, like this just, I can't. And I'm right there right now, so I don't think there's gonna be any tears from me. Anyway, after his appointments, Josh and I went to have lunch and I was crying in the restaurant. I've never done that. That was embarrassing, but you know, also whatever, don't care. So that happened. Let's see where to start. First of all, our neurologist suggested you trying to get in this? Our neurologist suggested that we see our genetic team, which we are scheduled to see in June, just to discuss genetics further. I'm not even really sure. I haven't looked into all this yet. Just different options that maybe Jensen might have an extra chromosome or missing a chromosome, so something other than just his Norrie disease. They kind of want to look into that unless our genetics team does not think that's necessary. I'm sorry that I haven't done my research for you yet. I will eventually, but I am just telling you what I just got in one appointment. That's one thing. We are going to be getting information on food therapy and speech therapy. Didn't really even go into that very much, but just because we are behind on interactions with Jensen and with his food and eating. She really wants us to do physical therapy in person, so she's looking into that. Where we go through right now, they are amazing, but unfortunately it is through Zoom. I'm not even sure how we're going to go about that because they've known Jensen for months now where we go now, and hopefully maybe they will be in person soon. It's just something we have to figure out. Our neurologist really wants us to be seen in person. Now she's looking into a referral for that. What next, buddy? They typically don't test for autism until a little after 1. Because of where we're at right now, she is getting us a referral for that now, and we won't get a phone call for about 6 to 8 months, but they are scheduled out 6 months. So therefore she is getting our information in there now. That way when she does reach that age, we can get in right away at the proper time. We are also getting set up with a social worker, which we have been in contact with on email. We want to see the social worker in person just to get other information on benefits or just any resources that we can get our hands on to help with all these medical bills, because on top of everything, now we are getting an MRI. He has to be sedated for that. So then she's like, well, do you have any other exams that need to be done during sedation? And we might now talk to our eye doctor, see if they will be available for the MRI. That way they can do the MRI for our neurologist, but then when he's being sedated, maybe the eye doctor can get a better look at what's going on in there. Have to figure that out once I get scheduled for the MRI, which isn't going to be for another week or two just because of insurance and pre-authorization and all that fun stuff. Then that's looking at another 3 weeks away for that. I have to coordinate with his eye doctor on that and if they want to do that or are available to do that. That'll be really fun. MRI, sedation. He's been so good and I don't want to mess his sleep schedule up and his tiny little body. He's been amazing. We haven't done sedation in a couple months. But I know it's necessary. We gotta do it. Are you just happy to be on your tummy? Lastly, the doctor was looking at the different sutures, just the openings of the skull and where they form together. And she goes, oh, his head always been like prominent right here. Like, so Jensen's head is kind of like, sorry, my little hand, whatever. His back of his head is really round and then it kind of comes to a peak. Not like tremendously, like it's still rounded, but I've always noticed that. No one said anything. So I was like, I guess it's fine. So she was feeling a ridge here. It was basically saying that there's a condition where the skull forms together prematurely, and this can happen at any of the sutures, his being this frontal area, but that area does typically close by 9 months, but this can cause a jetting out, and his case would be very minimal compared to some of the cases that she showed us online. However, we had to get an x-ray done right after our neurology appointment, and they really strapped these kiddos down, and the texts are so nice. Like, I promise he's not hurt. He's just doesn't want to be pinned down. He's gonna cry. It's gonna be hard for you and Dad. And truthfully, Josh and I are like, okay, not that we've been through the worst thing in the world, but we have been in the room when they clamp his eyes open and he's just screaming. Whatever, he did good. They did good. He got his pictures done pretty fast. Then we waited to hear from the doctor to see if this is truly the case, because then he would have to have surgery on his skull. So the idea of having surgery on his skull, which I have been told isn't as bad as it sounds, which is great, but it's still a surgery, it's still sedation, it's still recovery. I just wasn't expecting that. I was expecting other things, but I wasn't expecting that. So it's just like, just one more thing just thrown into the mix. Josh and I are driving home from all of this, and we got a call from the neurologist who explained to us, they got the results back from the x-ray. She said that yes, it was closed up here, everything else was still open. Closed up here, which again does happen by 9 months. However, she still thinks it happened prematurely. Still thinks it happened prematurely. Yes, you're interrupting. She wants us to get seen by a neurologist surgeon. Mostly to get a second opinion, but also to see if intervention is necessary or not. Guess I'm gonna cross that bridge when I get to it. You're being so goofy. You know what Mama needs. She needs Jensen giggles. Lots and lots of Jensen giggles. Yes, he's so cute. He's so cute. Tried to keep it short and simple. I didn't give you very much medical information. I will get into it eventually, but not right now. But I will say, when all of this was happening, when the doctor asked if we were gonna have more kids, and Josh was like, we're not having any more kids, I almost started bawling, because that just sucks. And I'm not gonna get into that again, but just sucks. And then she's talking about this appointment, that appointment. You should be hearing from this person, and I'm gonna set you up with the referral for this. And oh, he needs an x-ray because he might need some skull surgery. Yeah, I was tearing up in the office, and we're driving home. I just felt at such a low, because here I am planning his first birthday with all this family, and I'm like, wow, what if he has to have surgery, and other friends that are pregnant, and be so happy for them. Like, I am happy for them, but it's gonna be really hard to attend things like showers, because I didn't get a shower. It's hard for me watching like that stuff, because I want to go back and be blissfully unaware of what was about to come. Or other friends that have kids already, when Josh and I were out to eat, and just hearing about their normal routines and such. And Josh got really quiet, and I tried to interact and smile, because I don't want people not to talk about their kids. Like, that's a big deal, and I don't want people walking on eggshells around me, but it's just hard, and it's just something I'm gonna have to learn, so I might as well throw myself into it. More exposure and whatnot. But as I'm smiling, shaking my head, it hurts. I don't think there's anything anyone can do about that except for time. And I know one couple said here the first year is the hardest. That might be true as we get past every first for Jensen. You know, I think it's just gonna be a learning process throughout this whole thing. So like, I'm ready to cry right now, but I also just like don't feel. Isn't that great? Not to be dramatic. Now, some of you might think I'm being dramatic, but I also know there's a lot of other people in the rarity group of this disease. I know they relate to this, and sometimes they're like, you're handling it so well, you're so positive, and this is real. You know, I'm not always super positive. I just try to be. But whether it be today, tomorrow, at some point, I'm gonna break down. And the only reason that I held it together earlier was because I was in a restaurant, which, trust me, I did not want to be there. So take whatever from that video. Any of my friends that are pregnant or have kids, you can talk about your kids. You know, it's not you, it's me. I just have to learn how to cope with my emotions. All right, guys, until next time, please like, subscribe, and share our story. Every subscription helps us reach others that might be dealing with this disease and gets us more views. So please do not forget to hit that subscribe button. See you guys later.